Well, brightest regards, wise ones, and welcome to my show. I'm Lady Leeanna, and this, of course, is Tarot Card Lessons Made Easy, whereas today we are covering in the upright position the Five of Cups within the Minor Arcana. And as I generally like to do, we're going to start with all of the different symbols in the cards and go over those briefly and round back in to give you all the different possible meanings within the cards. And there could be quite a few of them. Alright, so let's start with the farthest reach here, and we have a house which is not peaked and not a colorful roof. It is kind of just flat, sawed off, not high reaching, not majestic as in a castle, not flying colorful flags, etc. It just looks kind of blah. With it being so close to the person and being so little, you would think house, not castle. Submerged in between a couple of what looks like dead trees to me. And I say that because usually within the tarot cards you see green trees. You see brown bark within those trees. These are black and blah and just lifeless. And not too far away from the river, which tends to be flowing, and you don't know exactly which way the river is flowing, and I guess it doesn't really matter within the card. Otherwise there would be some indication there. But you have a bridge that is crossing the river that goes from where that house is over to where we are standing, or where our individual within the card is standing. And there are hills on this side of the river where we are, which can indicate can climb or is climbing into great heights, potentially. Of course, those are kind of behind him and back to the right, and from where he obviously would have come from. As he glances over, or she glances over toward that house over across the river there, and in shame and doubt and desolation and darkness that they're shrouded in, so honed in by the cloak that kind of hangs from shoulder to ground. So this person is dressed in all black. They're hiding their face. And that is a very important thing to talk about, because it could represent shame. It could represent disgrace, being rejected, being excommunicated or outcasted. It can represent sadness and loss. And the person has their head down, and they're kind of, and you can tell, looking toward that house over in the back. I keep wanting to call it a casa. It does look like a Mexican house. It really does. But I guess that's where I'm getting it from. There are 5 cups scattered around him. 2 of them which are behind the individual within the card and standing upright, still noting to be full, or at least with fluids within them. And there are 3 that are laying over sideways within the card. Now within the tarot card picture that I'm looking at of the Rider Waite set, it shows that around the 3 cups that are tilted downward, there has blood coming from 2 of them, or red liquid. I guess it could be wine. And from one, around one would be clear liquid, as in probably water. Now, or green. I believe it's kind of a greenish look in the card that I'm looking at, but there are many different variations of the Rider Waite deck. So it could be all clear water streaming from yours. It could be clear coming from one and red coming from 2 others or whatnot. But it still means the same thing to some degree. I feel that it's talking about wine from 2 and water from another, all spilt out and lost. 2 standing in the upright position. Now, cups generally represent deep subconscious thought, love and indications of love. 2 of them still stand strong though, and are still full, I would suppose. And so it means that there's something left over. But the person is facing the 3, or his face is toward more the direction of the 3 that have been lost. And so more focused on that which has been lost rather than that which is still there and could be built from. And that's important within the card. So what does all of this mean? I hit the nail on the head a few times with doubt, desolation, shame, sadness, depression, feelings of being rejected, ejected, casted out. Now, I get this because he's still facing in the direction of that house, which is obviously where he came from. Because that bridge is there and it gave an indication of an easement or pathway at which he would have come from. And kind of down that hill rather than up it, because it kind of stands behind him. I don't know if I mentioned that yet, but there's a hill behind him and coming from over in the direction of that bridge and where it stands. But it looks like he's taken a step down. And whenever we're talking about the cups, it is a card of love. It looks to me, and what I get from this, is a person that feels like they've been outcasted, disbanded, rejected, ejected from people that they care about, and maybe over something they've done, because the person in the card also looked like they are shamed. Doubt, desolation, and shame are 3 major meanings that the original Rider Waite deck gave within the card about this individual. And the 5 cups that are kind of hanging around his feet, 3 of them spilled out, would mean like the major amount of those that a person loves, perhaps rejecting them, kicking them out, casting them out, having no more use for this individual. Maybe they've done something, because shame being part of that and all, it just kind of stands to reason that this person did something to shame themselves by doing wrong by others, and the majority of those parties around one has rejected him or her. And so, but there's 2 left over, so there is still love there to some degree, or there are some there that still feel toward this individual, and so that gives reason to believe that something can be built from this, that there is something that could be reobtained, or that their life could be reobtained if they make changes within their life. But this person is still focusing on that which has been lost, not that which still is. And that's where they make their biggest mistake. If you focus on that which has been completely lost, then you can let the rest of it slide between your fingers like sands through an hourglass. Whereas if you look at all of the above, or rather in this case, all the which is below, then you get an idea that, well, you messed up big time, or somebody has messed up, but there is cause to believe that they could fix this. Whatever it is, they could fix this. And so they need to look at those that do still love them and care about them, and that kind of expect a lot from them to doing what's right. And so with that in mind, you look at how you messed up, and you look at that which still depends on you and expects you to do the right thing, and it gives you a reason to believe that you should go forward, climbing and escalating, not just continually doing the things that you've been doing wrong. And to fix this in the best way you can and as quickly as possible. You've already crossed that bridge. There's already some water under the bridge, so what's been done has been done. But you keep on focusing on that and crying about it, grieving for it, then you won't obtain anything. You won't get anything back, and you won't do anything new within your life. You'll just continually spiraling down into the depths of your own sorrow and add up to nothing in the long run. Now, this card could also represent loss. Loss of somebody close to you and grieving. But it indicates an inheritance, though not up to one's expectations. And this is part of that old information from the Rider Waite's older books. Sorrow, tears, separation, delay, loss of a loved one, but with something left over, inheritance, patrimony, though not up to one's expectation. And generally can be saying that you've lost a loved one, or someone has rejected you and you have left them, or they've thrown you out, or they have left you. This card could be very significant to a breakup of a marriage where there are kids involved. It could be attendance at a funeral and grieving, or going through a grieving phase where you've lost somebody that's very close to you. It can be being outcasted, thrown out by those that loved you because of something that you've done. Shame that you feel for things you've done without other people casting you out, and you could still make it good by them if you work on it. Let's see, crossing a river means basically going your way, and the bridge also gives an indication of this. Going your way so that you could learn the great lessons of life and what it is to go on or forward regardless of where you've been. And could lend homage to the idea that there is still a lot to be obtained in your life. You're still young enough within your life to where you could achieve many great things in the future, even with significant changes that have been brought about or have been thrusted upon you. Basically, just look at this card as one where it could represent a breakup possibility where there may be kids involved. I guess it doesn't necessarily have to involve kids, but you could be on your last straw with the one that cares about you still, but is breaking up with you because of what you've done. You could fix it and bring it back together. Family that has thrown you out or has rejected you, the majority of them, but not necessarily all of them, and you're going to have to earn your way back in. Family throwing you out, rejecting you, where you could come back from it, but two of them depend on you to come back because they still uphold you and love you dearly, where the others may have completely given up on you, and you could earn your way back through with possibly the help of these two that still care about you. Or I say two, but it's really talking about a greater majority portion versus a minor majority proportion, rather than actual numbers of family members within this card. So bear that in mind. Anyway, so cross the river, go your way, earn new stripes by doing new things, build the self, and quit reflecting on the sorrows. Otherwise, you're going to lose everything. Quit grieving, because if you keep on grieving, you're going to lose everything, and you're going to submerge deeper into your state of self-pity. Take care of yourself. Hopefully, this has been of help to you, and brightest regards.